Hey viewers, we decided to do a daily space weather supplemental video here as there are coronal mass ejections having just kicked off. So I figured I'd do a quick little live stream here on YouTube. Leave us a comment if there's something you'd like us to talk about. And we're talking about the local yellow dwarf, otherwise known as the sun. Here's a view of it from the SDO, the Solar Dynamics Observatory, in 304 angstroms. And you can see all kinds of filamentary behavior all around the limbs. Some major prominences there, both in the northeast and on the west around the equator and the southeast. And some other interesting views to look at here, so check it out. Going to show you a HelioViewer movie with the composite. It'll include the LASCO C2, which is the red intermediary frame there. You can also see Mercury swinging around. And we've also included the sun in 304 angstroms there. And the LASCO C3, which is the blue portion of your screen. And that coronal mass ejection not looking Earth-facing. Looking like it will, if not entirely, mostly miss to the east. Not expecting it to really kick off any sort of geomagnetism or anything like that. And let's take a moment to go out to Lagrange point 5 and look at the view from stereo A. So here's the view from stereo A. And you can see there the Earth would be off to your right from this perspective. And here you can see Venus swinging around the back of the coronagraph. And you can see that basically all of that ejecta is on the far side of the sun, which would be on your left from the perspective of Lagrange point 5. I would also note that under my pointer here, there still is quite a bit of suspended plasma out in the Earth-facing zone. Some filaments that could end up striking the Earth. And let's look at a zoomed-in view of it from the LASCO C2. And this is actually at Lagrange point 1 on the SOHO spacecraft. And there's the view from the LASCO C2. You should be able to see the date stamps there as well. So a great example of how sometimes a coronal mass ejection looks like it could have Earth-facing components, but if you don't view it from stereo A's perspective, you may not be able to tell the telemetry. So that's a good indication of that there. And then here's the LASCO C3, a zoomed out version of essentially the same thing. Great view of that coronal mass ejection there. And it's taken quite a while, about 10 hours for that to really mostly release, if not entirely release. So great view there. And again, if you have comments, leave us a comment. Greetings to Zugas Shenanigans, and to Ray Carr, and to Life Force Rejuvenation. It's John Kotowski. Cheers. Yeah, so let's bring up the view from stereo A here again. I think that's probably the most interesting one. And then we'll show you the composite again. We'll close things out with one more view of the sun. We'll show you a composite view after this. I just wanted to do a quick little space weather supplemental, as perhaps folks will be interested in knowing something about this. So great view there of Mercury as well as that coronal mass ejection. Something we typically regularly view here at the Smash News Network. Again, if there's anything in particular you'd like us to talk about, let us know in the chat. We'll get back to that before we close the video out. This is probably my favorite view. A great view of Mercury there, moving from the LASCO C3 into the LASCO C2. And just give me one moment here. I'm going to pull up a composite image of the same period of time. This time we'll look at 211, now wait, 211 193 and 171 angstroms. So this will be a really cool looking view for you too here, folks. As it includes the 193, which shows you a very large portion of the corona as well. And we've included a pretty long time frame here so you can get a full view of that. Zugas says she doesn't see a lot of CMEs in LASCO. They're not that faint. They're pretty significant. Again, here's the view of that. So one of the things you can do also is you can pull up the difference image. So just a little tidbit for you here. If you bring up the difference image, so this right here, if you switch running difference or base difference, that may give you a little better idea of what's going on with that. Where's the full screen button? Anyway, let me head back to the composite view here. Again, thanks everybody for leaving comments. We'll keep this one fairly short here. We'll zoom in a little bit since your chats are taking up some space there. And we'll shrink the text down a little bit if possible. There we go. I don't know about a huge monster sunspot coming back around, but yeah, some activity kicking off. And once again, folks, I would remind you that there is some possibility of further coronal mass ejections, as down in this area there still is a filament which you could see from stereo A. Let me just go back to that real quick. So you see this filament here, that's sort of in the southern hemisphere, and that still does have a possibility to release. Don't be surprised to see that happen. And remember, folks, you don't need to see solar flares. We didn't see any major flares. There was a C-class flare yesterday. No major solar flares. Nothing like that M-class flare that we saw pushing 2 weeks ago. So yeah, just figured I would do a quick little daily space weather supplement video. So thanks for tuning in, folks. We are out. It's about that time. Thanks for leaving comments. Please share on your social media. Tell your friends and foes. Don't forget to press like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time here at the Smash News Network. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, and it's time for me to vanish.